Hello, and welcome to Empowered Legacy. My name is Veronique Walker, and I am the founder and CEO of this company. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the rationale behind the reason my core beliefs were chosen and selected as the foundation for my vision and mission statement. The 2 core beliefs that I'm going to start with out of my 7 core beliefs are mental health and well-being and self-love. So let's start with mental health and well-being. I believe prioritizing psychological well-being provides the foundation for inner wholeness, self-awareness, and positive impact. Mental health and well-being was the last core belief that I added, but it's the first one that I have listed because it is, to me, one of the most important core beliefs that I have. But what was the tipping point for me to add this to my core beliefs for my business? It really actually happened in November of 2025 when I had the opportunity to attend a state conference for mental health workers. Now, this was the first time that I attended this conference in this particular state, and I found it completely refreshing. But there was one session that resonated so deeply with me, and it caused me to come back and to reevaluate my core beliefs. And that session was designed for mental health professionals who look like me. And in that session, there were about 30 to 40 professionals in that room. And as I was sitting and absorbing and listening, the women in the room, although they were helping many other individuals, they themselves felt like there were times when they didn't necessarily have someone to talk to. So that resonated with me because there was a season in my career where I felt the same way or I experienced the same thing. There, of course, were people I ended up finding across my career that became that source of support for me when I didn't feel like I could talk to anyone. And I had decided that to the best of my ability and as much as it was possible with me that I wanted to be that person for other individuals as well. As I began to reflect on the importance of mental health beyond the experience that I had when I attended the state conference, I was reminded that mental health is essential to everything we do. Now, we experience mental health on a continuum, and there are the continuum being on one end where we're thriving, and then on the other end where we may be in crisis, and then everything in between. The CDC defines mental health as the component of behavioral health that includes our emotional, psychological, and social well being. Mental health is a state of well being that enables us to cope with the stresses of life, realize our abilities, learn well, and work well, and contribute to our community. The last sentence that I just read from the CDC's definition really brings home the reason why mental health and well-being is important. Number one, for my core beliefs, but also two, the cultivation of environments where people are valued, seen, and heard. So let's talk about self-love. As I began to unpack all of the selves, if you will, I came to the conclusion that all things self rest in self-love, self-esteem, self-respect, self-confidence, self-efficacy, and so I struggled with the concept of saying self love as a business approach because it may seem a little taboo to say that. But then I decided, no, it's definitely what I want to use as my core belief, which is appreciating and acceptance of oneself are essential for authentic connection with others. So appreciating and accepting oneself as far as individually and organizationally. Because let's think about it. Let's pause and think. The golden rule of life is to treat others as we treat ourselves. Another proverb or another just life verse, if you will, is to love others as we love ourselves. And so the key thing And those two comments was, as we love ourselves. So if we don't love ourselves, or we don't have that deep appreciation for ourselves, then how can that be extended outwardly? One other scenario or analogy that I would like to share is that of when flying on an airplane. When flying on an airplane and we receive our pre-flight information, and they talk about in the event of an emergency and the cabin loses air pressure, that oxygen masks will descend, and that as an individual passenger, you put your own mask on first before you then help someone else. Because we have to first take care of ourselves, self-love. And that actually relates back to mental health and well-being as well, before we can then assist someone else. In the next video, we'll explore the next two core beliefs, which are perseverance and human-centered leadership. Thank you.